The clock struck 9:03 a.m., the 4th of August, 1892. A house stood silent in Fall River, Massachusetts, its doors locked, its curtains drawn. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of iron and something fouler. A man lay butchered on the couch, his face unrecognizable, his skull split open like overripe fruit. Upstairs, a woman's corpse sprawled across the guest room floor, her head reduced to pulp. 19 blows for him, 11 for her. No screams had escaped the house. No neighbors heard a struggle. Only one person walked out of that home untouched, Lizzie Borden. But here's what they never told you. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was calculated. This was ritualistic. And most terrifying of all this was just the beginning. Lizzie Andrew Borden was not like other women of her time. At 32, unmarried, sharp-eyed, and sharp-tongued, she moved through Fall River's high society like a blade wrapped in lace. She read books on poisons. She collected taxidermied birds. She spoke of inheritance rights with a lawyer's precision long before her father and stepmother were murdered. The Bordens were wealthy, respected, but beneath the surface, a family rotting from within. Andrew Borden, Lizzie's father, was a miser who controlled every penny with an iron fist. His second wife, Abby, was hated openly by Lizzie and her sister Emma. The tension was palpable, the grudges generational, and then the money changed hands. Weeks before the murders, Andrew altered his will. Lizzie's inheritance, suddenly uncertain. Coincidence? Or motive? The murder weapon was a hatchet, small, sharp, and belonging to the Borden household. An intruder's weapon? Unlikely. A stranger wouldn't know where it was kept. A stranger wouldn't have time to deliver 30 precise blows without being seen. A stranger wouldn't have left Lizzie unharmed, standing in the parlor, calm as a Sunday morning. But here's the detail that chills me. The Bordens were killed an hour apart. Abby first, then Andrew. Meaning the killer waited. Stalked. Calculated. This wasn't rage. This was execution. Bridget Sullivan, the Bordens' Irish maid, was the only other person in the house that day. She was washing windows outside when Abby was killed. She was resting in her attic room when Andrew was slaughtered, or so she claimed. But investigators noticed something off about her testimony. Her voice shook. Her eyes darted. She repeated phrases Lizzie had fed her word for word. And then, the damning slip. When asked if she'd seen Lizzie after the murders, Bridget hesitated, just a second too long, because she knew. She had seen the blood. She had heard the lies. And she had been warned. No one will believe an Irish girl over a Borden. 3 days after the murders, Lizzie did something unthinkable. She burned a dress. Not just any dress, the one she'd worn that morning. When questioned, she claimed it was paint-stained, but the police found no paint, only dark, rust-colored streaks. And the smell, not paint, not oil. Blood doesn't wash out easily. But fire erases everything. Lizzie's trial was a spectacle. The press called her the Witch of Fall River. The prosecution painted her as a cold, calculating parricide. The defense, they played the ultimate card. A refined woman like Lizzie Borden could never do such a thing. And the jury bought it. After just 90 minutes of deliberation, not guilty. But here's the truth they buried. The jury wasn't convinced of her innocence. They were convinced of her privilege. Because in 1892, a wealthy white woman didn't get convicted. Not for this. Not when the alternative was admitting that evil could wear petticoats. After the trial, Lizzie changed her name, moved into a mansion, lived in luxury, funded by her dead father's money. But the whispers followed her. Neighbors claimed they heard axes striking wood at night. Servants quit, saying the house felt wrong. And Lizzie? She grew obsessed with the murders, collected newspaper clippings, hosted seances, as if she was trying to summon something, or silence it. She died alone in 1927, never confessing. But folklore says if you whisper Lizzie Borden 3 times in a mirror, you'll see 2 shadows behind you, one with a hatchet, one with a smile. The official story is simple. Lizzie got away with murder. But the real story? This wasn't just about inheritance. This wasn't just about hatred. This was about power. The kind of power that lets a woman swing an axe 30 times and still be called a lady. The kind of power that lets a jury ignore facts because the truth is too ugly. The kind of power that lingers long after the blood has dried. So I'll ask you now, do you believe in monsters? Or do you believe in Lizzie Borden? Lizzie's case didn't just end in 1892. It infected American justice. It proved that money could outweigh murder. That reputation could erase guilt. And most terrifying of all, it set a precedent. Because if Lizzie could walk free, who else could? Think about that the next time you hear innocent until proven guilty. Sometimes, the guilty are never proven. Sometimes, they win. But what if I told you this wasn't Lizzie's first kill? What if I told you there were others before Abby and Andrew? Smaller, quieter, easier to hide. What if I told you the Bordens weren't just murdered, they were sacrificed? And Lizzie? She wasn't just a killer, she was something else. But that's a story for next time. Before Abby and Andrew, there was Sarah. Sarah Borden, Lizzie's real mother, dead when Lizzie was just a child. Officially, uterine congestion. Unofficially, a sudden illness, a convenient death, a fortune left to Andrew, and a little girl watching from the shadows. They called it natural, but Lizzie kept her mother's lock of hair in a locket, always, even on the day of the murders. Coincidence? Or practice? 3 days before the murders, a woman matching Lizzie's description walked into a Fall River drugstore. She asked for prussic acid, a poison so lethal a single drop could kill. Her excuse? To clean a sealskin cape. The druggist refused. But here's what's chilling. She tried again, at another store, and another. Desperation or determination? Because if the axe was plan B, what was plan A? Abby Borden was killed in the guest room. The door, locked from the inside. Police had to break it down. But Lizzie claimed she was outside when it happened. So who locked it? And why? Unless the killer wanted the body hidden, wanted time to clean up, wanted to stage the scene, like someone who knew the house, like someone who lived there. Between Abby's murder and Andrew's, 90 minutes of silence. No screams, no struggle, just waiting. What was Lizzie doing in that time? Changing clothes, burning evidence, or watching her father sleep, axe in hand, counting down the minutes? This wasn't panic. This was patience, the kind that chills your soul. After the trial, a juror confessed. We knew she did it, but they acquitted anyway. Why? Because a woman like that couldn't. Because the Bordens were odd. Because Fall River needed the scandal to end. Justice wasn't blind. It was paid off. Lizzie inherited $500,000, equivalent to $15 million today. She bought a mansion, named it Maplecroft, lived like royalty. But money couldn't buy peace. Neighbors whispered of screams at night, of Lizzie arguing with ghosts, of a cellar where something rattled the walls. Was it guilt? Or something worse? After Lizzie's death, workers found hidden journals in Maplecroft, pages filled with names of the dead, skulls drawn in margins, Latin phrases for silencing spirits, and one line, over and over, "They know what I did." Who were they? The victims? Or something older? During renovations in 1934, a worker tore open a wall at Maplecroft. Inside, a rusted hatchet, wrapped in blood-stained lace. The police were called, then silenced. The artifact disappeared, but the question remains, why hide it? If you were innocent, Lizzie Borden took an axe. The nursery rhyme got it wrong. It wasn't 40 whacks. It was 30, precise, calculated, just like Lizzie. But the rhyme survives for a reason. Because some truths are too dangerous to say out loud. So we whisper them, sing them, turn them into children's games. Because the alternative? Admitting that monsters are real. Emma Borden fled Fall River the night of the acquittal, never spoke to Lizzie again. But in 1923, her body was found in a New Hampshire boarding house. Strangled. No suspects. No investigation. Just a note in her pocket. She told me what you did to the birds. Lizzie collected taxidermied songbirds, dozens of them. Little necks snap. Little bodies hollowed out. Just like the Bordens. Practice makes perfect. In 1912, a dying priest whispered to his nurse. Lizzie confessed to me. The church buried the record, but the nurse wrote it down. She said it wasn't her hand that swung the axe, but something behind her, guiding it. Was it madness or possession? Because Lizzie's defense team called one unexpected witness, a psychiatrist who testified she had hysterical episodes where she didn't remember, episodes where something else did. Maplecroft's staff refused to enter the basement after dark. They said something scratched at the door. Not rats, not pipes, something that mimicked human nails. Lizzie would descend for hours, emerging pale, smiling. Then the screams would start. Not hers. Something answering. The cellar was bricked up in 1926. No one asked why. A crime scene photographer took one picture of Abby's corpse the police never released. It showed her hands arranged in a cross, a butcher's knife laid over her throat, symbols carved into the floorboards. The plate shattered, accidentally. The photographer, found dead in 1893, suicide by poison. The same poison Lizzie tried to buy. Every juror was made to swear on a Bible smeared with ash. Later, one admitted, it wasn't ash, it was burnt human hair. Andrew Borden's scalp was missing after the autopsy. Someone took it, someone kept it, someone burned it into that Bible. A ritual, a warning, a pact. In 1992, a construction crew dug up the Borden backyard. They found a hatchet head, no handle, wrapped in a child's pinafore, stained with type AB blood. The Bordens were type O. So whose blood was it? The police sealed the records. Because some graves should stay closed. Lizzie's final diary entry, the 1st of June, 1927. They're singing to me from the walls now. Mother says I was her good girl. Father says I swing better than the executioner. Emma just screams. I'll join them soon. The doctor doesn't know about the drops in his tea. 30 should do it. She died 30 hours later. 30 drops, 30 blows. Poetic justice. If you stand in the Borden house at 9:03 a.m. on the 4th of August, light a candle, hold a hatchet, whisper, libera nos. Your reflection will keep swinging after you stop. Dozens of visitors have tried it. 3 went mad. 2 vanished. 1 left a confession to an 1,892 murder. If you stand in the Borden house at 9:03 a.m. on the 4th of August, light a candle, hold a hatchet, whisper, libera nos. Your reflection will keep swinging after you stop. Dozens of visitors have tried it. 3 went mad. 2 vanished. 1 left a confession to an 1,892 murder. Lizzie's headstone reads, Asterisk, Lisbeth Andrew Borden, 1860 to 1927, asterisk. But if you rub charcoal over it at midnight, another name appears underneath. Daughter of Moloch. And something else. 30 notches. In 2021, forensic anthropologists examined the Bordens' remains. Their findings, sealed by court order. But one technician leaked a phrase. Post-mortem axe marks inconsistent with initial attack. Meaning, someone revisited the bodies after death. Someone made sure. Someone enjoyed it. Now look at Lizzie's portrait again. See the smile? That's not a smile. That's satiety.